Hey guys, it's Chelsea here. I'm a youth and accessories editor at FS, here with another Fireside Stream with the founders of Love is Quarantine, which I will let them tell us what that is. But do you guys want to just intro yourselves real quick? Tell me your name, where you're from, where you live now, and your favorite takeout, and we'll start there.
Ooh. So, my name is Thi. I am 27. I don't know if that was a part of the question.
Yeah.
I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I'm from South Carolina. And favorite takeout? Probably clorm. Thai food is really good.
We love clorm.
Was that everything?
That's it.
Cool.
And my name is Rance Nix. I'm 28 years old, live in Bushwick, Brooklyn with T. We're roommates. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. And my favorite takeout, probably wings seafood, because they have hot wings.
Wings and seafood is so good.
Yeah, you know what it is. They're actually from Atlanta. Funny story, I was out there visiting a friend. I saw the wings seafood light in the light, and I thought, hold on, let me just go in and see what this is about, because it's so hard to find hot wings in New York. And I asked the owner, I said, hey, I'm from Atlanta. Like, is this a hot wing place? She said, oh, we're from Atlanta. We got a place in Duluth, which is a city like in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Said, oh, word. Like, yeah. We hit it off, and it's been my favorite takeout spot ever since.
Authentic. I love that. Okay, so first of all, can you guys, before we even get into what Love is Quarantine is, can you explain, like, outside of quarantine, outside of the tasks of Love is Quarantine, what do you guys do?
So I own a content house called Garner Studios, which is basically we help food and beverage startups make content.
Got it.
Here.
Beautiful.
And I am an actor and real estate agent in New York City.
Amazing. Okay, so now I guess we will dive right into it. So can you explain to anyone who's not familiar, but they should be, what is Love is Quarantine?
Do you want to take it away?
Sure, I'll take it away. So Love is Quarantine is a parody dating show based on the Netflix reality show Love is Blind. Essentially, it's just blind dating where we get random people all over the U.S. to call each other on the phone and go on these phone dates. And basically, they film recap videos of how the date went, and we share it on our Instagram feed. That's basically the show.
Amazing. You have anything to add? Anything that he missed?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of the show. It's just a nonsensical ragtag, organic, raw, fun way we have been able to connect people on dates from all across the country in this difficult time that we're in.
Did you mention the Google Sheets?
Yeah, he did.
We didn't mention the Google Sheets at all, sorry. So basically, there's this open source Google Sheet out and about where contestants can add their name, their number, where they're located, and like what they're interested in. I think so far we have like over 1,000 contestants like signed into the Google Sheet and are like actively participating in that forum.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. That another crazy fact about the Google Sheet is someone easily could have deleted the whole thing in like the first night and ruined the whole entire project. But
yeah, it's not like locked or protected, right? Anyone can get on and edit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still up.
Yep.
So that just shows the love that's surrounding Love is Quarantine, that no one's gone into sabotage.
Yep.
Okay, so my next question is, I'm gonna assume that you guys are creatives as an actor and as someone who works with startups and content. So as creatives, do you think that any of your like skill sets played a role in the inception of Love is Quarantine? Like, was it a product of you kind of missing the creative stuff that you got to do day to day? Or was it like even like creating your own day to day that you want to have? Did any of that play a role in starting Love is Quarantine, or was it just out of the blue?
It was very spontaneous and very out of the blue, but to T's credit, that's kind of how from my perspective, he's been successful in just the spontaneity and organic nature of Love is Quarantine, but also some of the things that he's put out for himself.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of how we've been working together. T is the creative mastermind. He's always thinking, he's always scheming, he's always looking for that next thing and what that may look like. So I think the speed was the first successful part of Love is Quarantine, and just the organic nature. Literally, T came up with the idea and said, hey, maybe we should set people up on blind dates using a Google sheet, and then we can like put it out for content. And then I was kind of like, okay. And then where I kind of came in from the logistical side of things, I'm very organized, very type A, very like, all right, like let's get it on a sheet. Let's put the pods and set that up, be methodical about it. How are we going to reach out? What am I going to say? What that's going to look like, and kind of think through that whole thing. So T's creative spontaneity and genius as far as the concept is concerned with my organization and just logistical skills, that just kind of led to this perfect thing that we created with Love is Quarantine, and then just running with it from there.
Yeah, I would say I sparked the flame, and Rance is sustaining the fire right now.
It's definitely not our day-to-day.
No, not at all.
It's been cool to essentially run a startup.
Mm-hmm.
This is essentially what it is, and like we've gone through the full experience of running a super successful startup, from conception to instant virality, literally not even overnight, like that night.
Yeah.
We got our first press, from going through the press junket. I mean, we've done over 30 interviews at this point, in addition to I think 20 or so other press outlets covering Love is Quarantine, to continuing to keep up the momentum and continuing to put out content and put on dates and make the connections and make the love and do all of the things, while also figuring out, okay, how do we continue to build this? How do we continue to work off the steam and work off the gas, you know, because at the end of the day, with the startup, you want to scale. You want it to be something that either can be super successful in the long run, or something that you run for a specific period of time and then go, okay, cool. We've done the thing. This is a success. How do we parlay and build something else?
So first of all, just to allow you guys to kind of gas yourselves up, what are some of the press outlets that have been reaching out to you? What are some of the notable ones?
Man, at 3 a.m. on the first night, it was Washington Post. He called 3 o'clock in the morning. He was like, I want to be the first one on this. I know it's huge. And we only had maybe 2,000 followers at that time, but things were rolling in. And, you know, we've had Forbes reach out to us. Taylor Lorenz from New York Times reached out to us and wrote a little piece for us, which was nice. BBC, Vice was a big one for us. I love Vice.
The Economist.
Yep.
Ooh, I also saw Hype Bay, which kind of fun.
Oh yeah, that's right, Hype Bay. It's been cool. It's funny too, because when we first started, I'm not gonna name no names, but some of the press outlets, when they first saw us, they actually told us that we weren't, like, they kind of brought the story to their editors, but the editors said, nah, that's not like a thing. That's not big enough. But then as we gained traction, they circled back and were like, oh, actually,
approved.
This is the thing. We want to like cover you now. And we're like, oh, okay. Okay.
Also, just
New York Times.
Also, and another thing was, it's unbelievable how a lot of the press, they would reach out and then we go, oh, well, have you seen what we're actually doing?
Right.
And they go, no. What? What?
I haven't even watched any of the episodes, so they have no idea what they're writing about. They just are basing it off the hype, which is fine, you know.
Absolutely. Also, just to allow you to speak to the velocity of how quickly this kind of erupted in the digital space. How quickly did you gain followers? Because I know when I started following, there were about 5,000 followers, and within like 3 or 4 days, there were then 10. I think now there are almost 18,000 followers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how long has it been an account?
3 weeks?
Not even a month.
Yeah, not even a month.
That's crazy. So
And
it's obviously,
it was never like a hockey stick growth kind of thing. It was just a gradual,
yeah.
like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, like day by day. There was no like specific day or specific press that, you know, skyrocketed the follow account. But I mean, follow whatever. I don't know.
Amazing. And you're verified now, so it's official.
Yes, we are verified and slightly
Over stripes. That's what we like.
we're verified, and we're you know, halfway represented now from like a
Ooh,
talent manager. We have a talent manager all of a sudden. I
the
don't
talent. Wow.
know. We're just rolling with it.
Okay, so obviously this is it's striking a chord with people for some reason. So what are you noticing about people's desire to connect with others right now, since we're quarantined and self-isolating? What are you noticing about like this heightened desire for people to connect? And do you think this concept or a similar concept would have taken off without our current circumstances?
I think people's innate desire to connect in general has always been there, like pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and then post-pandemic. That's never going to go away. I think now we are just put in a position where we're hyper-focused on how lonely we are.
Yeah.
And we're also focusing on like, oh man, like we took for granted our freedom of socializing in public. I think now people are shooting their shot more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
In this weird like war age time of like, oh my gosh, like I'm never gonna see you again. Like let me tell you how I feel before it's all
That's true. I actually never thought of that. It's like I don't know if I'll ever see you. Here's all of my feelings.
Yep.
Yeah. Or like at least I know I'm not gonna see you for the next 2 months. Like I'm not gonna see you till summer. What?
Yeah. 2021, honestly, who knows?
Bruh. It's crazy. But it's interesting too. I think with Love is Quarantine specifically, it was just the perfect storm of pandemic, people being stuck at home alone, and that the emotions are high and people crave that innate desire for companionship. But also outside of pandemic and quarantine, it's been cool to kind of see how the pendulum has been shifting away from the immediate physical judgments before potentially going on a date with someone. I think what we've noticed is that people are getting tired of like Hinge and Bumble and swiping left, swiping right, Instagram, and like just the shallowness of it all. And then that kind of came to a head with Love is Blind, the Netflix show, where people kind of brought up this concept of, oh, is love really blind? Can you actually make a connection with someone without actually seeing them? And what we can see in the show Love is Blind, and also our show Love is Quarantine, is that yes, you can make a connection with someone without actually seeing them. So I think those, our show included, has sparked conversation on, all right, cool, what does that look like moving forward? And how cool is it that, all right, maybe we can shift back. Maybe we can get back to the way things were and like give people an opportunity to get to know each other more and just go on dates and like do life with someone without immediately making a physical judgment on what they look like.
Yeah.
A judgment on what they physically look like.
Right.
Yeah. And like during this time, like in the pandemic season where like you can't go out and meet this person like, face to face anymore. You have to like communicate on the phone or FaceTime and get creative. I think it's like the perfect time to build any kind of relationship because communication is such like a huge foundation of like any healthy relationship.
Mhm.
And also like making people get creative with like how they go on dates. You know what I mean? Just because it's FaceTime doesn't mean it's like has to be a boring, you know, date. So I think people are going to be using FaceTime as a dating tool from here on out. Like you don't need Hinge to do that. Like people can cook together while on FaceTime. They could play games and they could watch movies, and you know, right now there's no excuses.
There's also no options. So
Yeah. Which even that I think is cool. It's just like the opportunity for a yes has, I think, increased at least a little bit. It's like when nobody's doing anything, so there's no excuses. You can't really ghost nobody. So if someone says, "Hey, I think you're pretty cool. Want to hop on a call or like want to FaceTime?"
Yeah.
I think you there's a much.
They'll say, "Sorry, I have to go to the kitchen real quick."
Yeah, like where you gonna go?
I'm busy in the living room right now. I can't talk.
Right. Unless they're watching Netflix, which is valid or whatever, you know, there's maybe a greater likelihood that they'll say yes. And again, you at least get an opportunity to get to know someone new. That all being said, at the end of the day, I think it's also allowing people to realize that, oh, then the expectations can be lowered. You know, just okay, maybe I can get on this phone call and it might not go well, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, going on a bad date, that's okay.
Sure.
Or having an awkward phone conversation and letting that be that, that's all good. It's all gravy.
But also like you have to think about like, is this real life with like, okay, Rance is saying like there's the probability of a yes is higher because no one's doing anything. But I think like in real life, in terms of like normal society, we have distractions like our work, our friends, our events that we go to, meetings, and blah, blah, blah. Therefore, like making those like active sacrifices is like a telltale sign of whether this person actually likes you and actually wants to you. And I don't know, it's like maybe the probability is higher for a yes, but I don't know, I guess Rance, you're right. Like this is the time to shoot every shot you can.
All of the shots.
All the shots just
need to be shot right now.
throwing up layups, throwing up dunks, throwing up.
No, half court shots.
Full court, shoot. Full court. I mean,
shoot the ball outside of the stadium. See what happens. Like, you know what, Rance? You know why? Because right now there are no defense players in your way.
No, I mean, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that and keeping it a buck. I was thinking about that today, like earlier today. Like, I was like, oh, this girl who just happens to be following me on Instagram through Love is Quarantine, but she like knows us. And I was like, oh man, it'd be cool to get to know her. Like once we get out of this, like we have mutual friends and mutual connections, but it's like, do I have to wait to get that coffee with her or like go on a walk or whatever we do?
Right.
Or I could just be like, hey, you want to talk on the phone? Like, you seem like cool people. Like, you want to get to know each other now? Not that it would lead to anything or anything like that, but like, why not now?
Why not now?
Why not now?
Wow, I'm getting that tattooed on my chest. Why not now?
Why not now?
No regrets.
Okay, so I guess my next question that kind of relates to all of this is, do you think that these kind of adaptations that people are making within the dating realm, do you think they're like sustainable practices that might continue once we're kind of shifting out of quarantine? Do you think that like maybe people will be more open to phone dates or like FaceTiming, or will people be more open to going on dates with those people that they maybe before wouldn't? Like, do you think it's gonna carry through?
I mean, that's the hope. You know, we absolutely hope that that's the case. I don't know. Humans can be like such a disappointment sometimes. We're like, oh man, like what happened to all the hardships that we went through? You're just gonna go revert back to the old ways of doing things.
Yeah.
I think some people. I think it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Man, I'm hoping that people take this and absorb it and learn something from it, and it's like, I'm gonna live life openly and just see what happens and just say yes to things that I normally wouldn't have. But I don't know. Can't speak for everyone.
I guess also on the other end of the spectrum, do you think that there's a potential for this to like make people be scared to meet up with people in real life? Like, do you think that would be a shift at all? Or do you think it's going to be like, we've been missing humans so much that all we want to do is go on like real dates? Do you think it's like a 50-50 split of that, or what? Or do you have an idea what would be more probable?
I think initially it's just gonna take some time.
Yeah.
You know, like once like the restrictions are starting to, or once the restrictions start to get removed, and we can start to go outside again. Okay, cool. We can gather in groups of 10. You know, people are gonna, that fear of maybe still getting sick or like the virus coming back. Yeah. I think that's gonna take some time for us to be healthy for a sustained amount of time before like people are all in, like, yeah, let's go hang and do all the things. But like T said, hopefully once you know, we get through that stage and like everything is back to normal, you know, we'll be able to do all the things again. Will we shake hands and like hug people off rip, or like when we first meet someone? I don't know. For some people, yeah, I think they're gonna hug. Like I can't wait to hug my friends when we get out of this. Like tears will be shed. Like I can't wait to hug you, like our neighbor. Like you live right around the corner from us.
I know.
We saw you from a safe distance.
Safe 6 feet distance.
6 feet distance, but like there was like it was just like a cat of like, man, like how cool is it that, you know, long story short, for all the people watching, we met through Love is Quarantine. We realized we're neighbors. We live right around the corner from each other.
Yep.
We saw each other from a safe distance, but like that was it. It was just like this, like that was the level that we could get to.
Right.
Like we couldn't hug, like that was it.
Yeah.
But like the moment we get to see each other in person without any restrictions, please believe I'm gonna hug you. I might shed some tears.
Same.
And like high five, dap, all the things. Like I'm so excited to hug and do all those things again.
I don't know. I think like there's like give and takes with like in-person relationships and dating, and then like phone call and texting. There's like give and take things that are easier in both worlds. Like talking on the phone is exhausting to just like all you do is just talk.
Yes.
You can't stop, and that's difficult. But like when you're in person, you could look at like walk down the street and like observe things around you and experience life together, and you don't have to talk, and you can just like enjoy each other's company. You can't do that on the phone. However, when you're in person, like, and you're having a lull in the conversation, you can't just like flip your phone over and just like take a nap and then get back to it later.
True. It has to continue.
So I think, I don't know, it's a give and take. I think it depends, but I might struggle with like the in-person dating, and then like, I don't know what to talk about. I can't just turn over.
Just fall asleep.
Turn over and run away.
I'll text you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, so I guess that also leads into my next question. Out of this experience, were y'all expecting to also be making connections with people? Like, I know that you were expecting to make and form connections between strangers, but were you expecting to like meet all of these people? Like, I'm still talking to people from my season who live in Greenpoint, like Alex and Andrew. So like, were you expecting to also make connections with people through this?
Honestly, like, there were zero expectations, and like there were zero expectations when we started this thing.
Yeah.
This whole thing started because like, oh, like I had this like little tiny vlog on my Instagram page that's like random clips of my week or whatever. This Love is Quarantine was supposed to be a part of that. It grew into something way bigger.
Yeah, this is exploded beyond our wildest dreams and expectations. And you know, personally, I'm so grateful that we have this community of people between the contestants. I mean, we've had over at this point, I think like 60 contestants, and then another 50 plus people that tune in every night that are engaged and like at this point are friends.
Yeah.
I mean, to have 100 people to now call your friend through something that we created on a whim, man, that's crazy.
Social media though, like that's what like it was supposed to be this way, you know, like we were supposed to connect easy, like I don't know, connections are made easier through the internet, but we're supposed to like follow through with it and become actual friends. And I think like the way that things are now, it's like we make connections and then we just let them sit there on a shelf and not do anything with it. So I think.
Yeah, but overall, yes, it's been cool to be able to make connections of our own through this thing that we created. Also, you know, when we originally started it, our names were 1 and 2 on the Excel sheet. So we were trying to make some connections, I think, from the jump. But then when we realized, oh, okay, this is growing a little quicker than we expected, maybe we take our names off the list.
You guys were trying to hop in the pods at first.
Yeah.
So then I guess there may or may not be a good answer to this because I'm still kind of questioning this myself, but how do you see like industries adapting to this? I don't know, it could be what like industries that you're passionate about participating in, or even that just like these shifts that you're kind of seeing from the outside. Like, do you think social media will have to shift to adapt to how life has changed? Do you think dating apps will going forward have to make some adjustments? Like, do you think there will be any big industry shifts? Like, I work in the fashion industry and so much has changed because, you know, you can't be producing it in the same manner and can't even really be developing it in the same manner because we can't be, you know, collaborating together. So do you think that there will be a shift in industries on how people are creating things or conceptualizing things? Will it be a lot more digital? Just if you have any thoughts on that you've seen so far.
I mean, speaking from like an ad perspective, I think I think this pendulum was already swinging back to like more like narrative based stuff, whereas like the message is the most important stuff and the production is after. And now that people are forced to, you know, work with the tools that they have, and they realize that the audience, they don't care about overproduction kind of, I don't know, video shoots. But maybe I think the future of that will be, I don't know, less produced. Industries will be back in America with, as Americans, we realize that we depend on a lot of other countries for stuff. And when shit hits the fan, you know, they're not prepared.
Yeah.
All these like Fortune 500 companies have no savings for this kind of stuff.
And it seems like a lot of these industries haven't had like a backup plan.
Yeah.
It's just been like completely crumble because there wasn't a plan for when something happened like this. So I guess, I mean, that could also be something that comes out of it, like thinking all of the things that could happen.
Yeah. I think I'm noticing overall just more depth, more empathy, just being more in tune. You spoke on fashion. Like, I think fashion for sure has to kind of think about the way they move, like with fast fashion. Like right now, fast fashion is change. It might have to change maybe for the better, which could be really, really cool. Just given the circumstances, like in India, where a lot of the big fast fashion retailers outsourced their labor. You know, that is all on pause right now because, as we can see, you know, India is on like full lockdown, like period. So it's been cool to just kind of see, and I'm hopeful that companies, are just more empathetic, like T said, just focused on like the story, the message, the depth, and not just like the product and like churn and burn and pushing out this thing and like, this is the thing, buy it, or this is the thing, like we want you to participate in it. It's just more human, it feels like, you know?
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's like an authenticity that kind of comes out of this, that like in lieu of what's going on. And also, you know, the fact that people are not making money right now. So when they make purchases going forward, they're going to have to be like really drawn to a product, and it can't be just like, oh, this looks cool. It has to be like, there has to be a narrative behind it in order for people to be drawn to purchase things. So I think that hopefully like authenticity comes out of it, which again, shows where Love is Quarantine thrives, with like the authenticity of you guys just like saying that this kind of came out of nowhere, but it's growing, and so you're just going to go with it. I think people are really drawn to those like authentic stories. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, hopefully the future of fashion is just like the cozy professional. Like that's
well, you know, it could be that people are more into this like athleisure, cozy business professional, which I'm a fan of.
You think athleisure is swinging back too?
But it could also be that we've been trapped in our houses for so long that by the time we're able to go outside, we're going to want to show off.
Yeah, I'm about to put this suit on. Let's go.
Full ball gowns only. We're never putting on sweatpants again. Like, I think it could be either or.
Yeah. I think it's like everyone's so contained, and like no one can see you when you're inside, so everyone's like so ready to like self-express.
Yes.
So maybe the future is like everyone's gonna be wearing loud colors and just crazy, which is cool because maybe the minimalism is dead.
I'm excited. I think maximalism is coming back.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun.
It's interesting because I think all of the things that we've discussed so far were starting to come back.
Yeah.
But because of the pandemic and the situation that we've been in, everything has been accelerated. Everything. Like
catalyst.
All businesses have accelerated that shift.
Yep.
Which has been kind of cool to see just how like industries have just now we really have to focus on this.
Yeah.
Now we really have to focus on sustainability. Now we really have to focus on the narrative and being a company of integrity versus like a company that doesn't care.
Exactly.
I
feel like consumers too have, one, because we have so much time to be like on social media.
Yeah.
I've noticed which companies are doing things about it or making statements, and noticed which ones have not said anything, done anything, which is also really telling to like who's going to be successful out of this based on like how they handled this situation.
Yep.
Which is really interesting.
And do it in a way that's not just capitalizing on the situation.
Again, authentic. Like it has to be an authentic reaction.
Versus like, oh, hey guys, we just want to let you guys know that we value our customers, and as you get through this, like, I'm tired of seeing those emails.
Or even like free shipping because you're at home. Like,
bro, I don't need another email talking about how you care about me, and then you're offering me something like.
Yeah. All those like letter from the founder.
on a long-term plan. Once you come out of this, like I don't need to update every 5 days talking about, this is what we're doing. No, just scheme on something real deep and real long term, and then let me know as soon as things start to progress out of pandemic.
For sure. So then I guess we'll end with outside of these industry shifts, what are some human level lessons that you think we can learn from this situation that we've been in? Whether it be from what you've learned from interacting with all of these people on Love is Quarantine, or just personally, like what are these like human level lessons that you think or you hope will come out of this? I think authenticity is one. I'm hoping that this layer of authenticity kind of like shows through in a lot of ways, because again, we kind of don't have a choice at this point. There's not a lot of other options. And learning that human connections, like we need these human connections, is another thing that I've been like realizing throughout this. Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe one, just being okay with handling grief in different ways. It's a difficult situation overall, and different people will handle this situation in different ways. So being empathetic to that, and just remembering that like there's no one right way to handle what's going on right now. Everyone handles grief a different way. Everyone handles difficult circumstances a different way, and there's no need to compare the way you're handling the situation with a way someone else is handling the situation.
Yeah. I've seen all these memes on Twitter that are like, if you're not learning a new language, 4 new skills, and have a business by the end of this, then you're not doing quarantine right, which
No.
I just think is I mean, some people can use this time to be learning new skills, but that's an unrealistic expectation for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's true. Like, just taking this time in your own personal way that works for you, and you shouldn't have to live up to the expectation of anything, really.
Maybe also just watching where you put your hope, you know, and just being aware that, like, when you put your hope in things that are very transient or short term, that can, you know, maybe fail you. You know, it's like when you put your hope in, or all of your hope, or a majority of your hope in things that are out of your control. You know, when life comes at you, and sometimes it comes at you fast, as we're seeing, that can be very, very challenging. You know, it's like, oh, if all my energy and effort is put into my job,
yeah,
but then I all of a sudden I am unemployed, just that can really be difficult. So just being aware and just learning that, like, okay, you know, where can I put my hope, and where does my hope lie? Does it lie in things that can be very up in the air in an instant, or does it lie in something that can be a constant? You know,
like reprioritizing, like what builds your identity. You know, like what Rance said, it's like a lot of people in New York City, especially, like they glorify like the hustle and grind, but what do you do when there is no hustle and grind? Like, then people feel like they're nothing.
Right.
That's just not true. So hopefully during this time, like in quarantine, people reevaluate who they are as a person, and like what makes them who they are, not what they do.
Find their identity.
Find their identity. Yeah, that's important to do. Like, just like the essential workers is like, find what's essential to you as a being, you know, like what makes you happy. Figure that out now. And I guess that's stressful for some people, but I don't know.
I mean, I think you can take it at your own pace. I think that's a good, not an easy thing, but that's definitely the sort of thing that each person can take at their own pace, of like learning these little parts of their identity that maybe weren't uncovered prior to now.
Exactly.
Actions now, just you and yourself.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things. And then overall, just like, just being aware, just being more aware, empathetic, you know, because even like T said, it's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, even finding yourself or figuring out what your identity is.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think also the empathy to like allow others to be doing that too, and not in the same way that you are.
Yep.
So hopefully we just learn a lot about ourselves and about each other.
And get some rest.
That's true.
Absolutely.
In the city, you're right. This hustle is a little toxic sometimes. So maybe we just relax.
That's conspiracy theories about that.
Oh, that's another interview. That's another Fireside Stream. Okay, so I guess we'll just end with, do you guys have anything else you want to add? Anything about Love is Quarantine? Anything about yourselves? Anything? Or do you feel like we've covered everything we can?
I think you just did such a great job interviewing us. Yeah.
Yeah, this was tight.
Thank you.
They were fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good time. The best interview we've ever had.
Oh my gosh.
100%. I think this was a vibe. This is very refreshing. This is kind of like, a fireside chat. It is what it is. We're just chatting versus like talking questions. I feel like, you know, when you're just answering textbook questions, it's just very repetitive, very monotonous.
Yeah.
But this has been, I think, insightful for us as well, just to be able to think deeper as to where we fit in all of this, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to fireside chat.
Also, all of Chelsea's people, yo, keep her on. If there are any opportunities for promotion, I mean,
wow.
Wow.
I didn't even ask for that.
She's your star. So don't sleep.
Oh,
She's camera ready.
wow.
She's styling. She got the bling underneath.
You gotta stop. It's fine. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. If you need anything else from us, let us know.
I will.
And just know that we are so excited to meet you and hug you
Yes.
very, very soon.
I can't wait for summer 2021 when we can finally meet.
Hey.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you so much.
For sure.